Well, if I were to compare myself to a professional Korean, and a lot of people will probably laugh at the irony because we're both big guys, but I would have to compare myself to JulyZerg just because he kind of made his hallmark aggression. That was kind of what he was known for. And if there's anything I'm known for in the non-Korean community as far as gameplay goes, it's certainly aggression. And I like to take that and use it. Like, you're not going to find too many passive games with me. I'm usually going to try to push the limit against my opponent. I'm usually going to play an offbeat style, do something that they don't expect, and I try to get them off their balance. And that's generally how my battle strategy pans out each game.
And isn't it true that your fans and your enemies are able to download many of the replays that you and other players play in the TSL from the Team Liquid site?
The TSL replays, there are some available just as they kind of leak out into the community because they were tremendous games or that kind of thing. But as far as like a large library of replays, there's not too many guys sharing a lot. So the replays that people will be studying are from other clan wars or other tournaments that are going on somewhere within the vicinity of TSL. And that's a pretty true story with just about everyone. There's some guys who really try to keep themselves off the radar, and that's like Yosh, who practices very secretively and does not share his replays. He'll actually upload fake replays in a lot of the clan wars and that kind of thing. And some of these other guys are pretty protective about that. But as far as I'm concerned, we all have played with each other for a long time. There's not too many new names on the scene. So we all know each other fairly well, and even the new guys are pretty figured out. So it's going to come down to people's creativity on the fly and people's preparation and people's overall skill.
Well, I think I've said it a dozen times already, but it will be a hell of a show, and it's already. Best of luck continuing up the ladder. However, moving on to the future, if you will, talking about StarCraft 2, pro gaming, and where esport might develop. You have played StarCraft 2, I believe, and as a already professional gamer, what are your thoughts about the game? Does it have the potential to be as good as Brood War eventually and a proper sport at some point? Can it breach through to the mainstream? What do you think?
Well, I'm going to answer those a little bit out of order, but just off the top of my head, with one of the most pertinent questions I think you just asked, is can it reach the mainstream? And I'm going to answer yes, a strong yes, in fact. I think one of the faults of StarCraft 2 is it is being geared too much towards the mainstream, and let me qualify that as saying that means that Blizzard's doing, they're not outright saying it, but they're doing a pretty good job of making that game more accessible to a wider base of people. And one of the things that's controversial about that is a lot of people feel that StarCraft is so difficult, it's so archaic, and it's just such a complicated game that a lot of people don't have interest in watching it for the understandable reason that they don't understand it. So what Blizzard's trying to do to alleviate that is make StarCraft 2 a little bit more of a simpler game. A lot of the things are done for you, like auto mining, auto casting, and the game's a lot prettier. While on paper these are all good things, a lot of the old StarCraft players and StarCraft purists will tell you that that's actually going to end up being a down point to the game itself as far as the competitive play goes. Because a simpler, easier game isn't necessarily a better game for competition. It might be a more watched game, but the lifespan, the competitive ability of the game is all going to be fairly limited. But yes, I have played the game. It is gorgeous. It's a lot of fun. It's our baby. It's StarCraft with a much prettier new car, if you will, and it is something that's really exciting. But I put a lot of faith in Blizzard. I think they are trying to make a simpler game, but at the same time, I think they have their eye towards the competitive scene, and I think they know that they need to make a game that's going to be played competitively in order for it to stay around and replace StarCraft Brood War. So I trust Blizzard. They haven't failed. They rule the world for a reason. So here's hoping.
I totally agree with you. Mainly that I share the fear that they are catering towards a broader audience by cutting back on the very distinct elements that makes StarCraft Brood War such a skillful and ever-challenging game. But at the same time, they are Blizzard, and then they do deserve our faith. However, regardless if it will be as good as StarCraft or less, do you think that it will offer the opportunity for people to go professional on a broader basis? Is that something you might consider as a career move rather than possibly for the game itself?
Absolutely. I think StarCraft Brood War has had so much success and has such a fan base with such avid people still participating in the community and the game itself. StarCraft 2 is going to breathe tremendous new life into that market. I think we're going to see a huge influx of sponsorship, tourneys with a lot of cash. There's going to be a huge fan base. There's going to be a more youthful and more vigorous group of people that are injected into the system, and I think we're going to see a level of StarCraft-ness, if you will, that we have never seen before. Just because when StarCraft started off 11 years ago, esports wasn't what it is coming to today. It was something that was still looked down on. It was something still childish, still immature. Playing games competitively was a waste of time. But slowly and surely, over the course of the last 11 years, playing StarCraft, playing Counter-Strike, playing some of these competitive games has become more acceptable. It's become something that a lot of people get really excited about and are willing to spend a lot of money on. So look to StarCraft 2 to be something that's going to absolutely explode the esports scene.
I believe so, and I hope so. Is it safe to say then that providing StarCraft 2 will be released sometime next summer, realistically, maybe, that you will be fighting for USA in the VCG in Los Angeles?
You know, I certainly hope so. The more StarCraft, the better. It's just tough to say. You know, Blizzard's come out with a lot of release dates, a lot of expectations, and they've gotten pushed back, and that's understandable. They want to produce a game that's up to Blizzard standards, so who can fault them? But as far as WCG is concerned, it's going to take a while before you see it in WCG. If it comes out in the next WCG, I hope that there's at least several months of StarCraft 2 on the market under their belt before it's in the WCG. And that's just because there's actually a lot of balance changes, and patching that happens in the first year of a game release on this magnitude. When StarCraft came out, spawning pools used to be 150 minerals, and reavers used to just auto-fire the second they had a scare. I mean, there was a lot of things that needed to be fixed, and if you throw a WCG in there, you're going to have some pretty angry people when they lose, or there's just there's 30 Protosses in a 32-man tournament kind of thing. That's just an example, but I'm just saying, hopefully it comes out, and when it does, WCG does it right.
Hopefully it will. Maybe they'll release it on BlizzCon in Las Vegas next year. But let's hope for the best, indeed. However, before rounding off this interview and allowing you to go back to the laddering, I'm checking the stats right now, and you're solidly at number 24. I'm sure that will rise a lot before the end. Do you have any final shout-outs, rants, or corporate plugging, or whatever you'd like to share with your fans?
Well, you know, first and foremost, I want to thank my fans. Like, that seems like a cliche or something silly to say, but actually, I've had a lot of support on Facebook, on Twitter, the Evil Genius website, and on Team Liquid. And a lot of the opportunities I've been given and the support I've been shown has been from people who just love to watch the game and take particular interest in me. And it's always nice to hear that people care and people want you to do well. So first and foremost, I really want to thank those people because they've done a lot for me. And I just hope that I can, someday in some fashion or form return the favor. But also, I want to thank Evil Geniuses. And again, I know it's funny as a corporate plug, but like I said earlier, there's so many opportunities I've been able to go on, and it's not because of my own ability. It's because I've been taken care of by my team and by my sponsors. So Intel, Peregrine, SteelSeries, you guys rock. Thank you so much. And also, thank you, Sebastian, for this interview because every chance I get to talk about StarCraft or esports or Evil Geniuses or myself, I always get really excited. So thank you for providing that opportunity.
No, thank you. I have to say the same. Every time I get the opportunity to talk about StarCraft with someone who shares the same passion to the same degree, I'm a happy man. And yes, viewers, do follow iNcontrol on Twitter and Facebook. That's where all the magic happens first. I'm there as well. And I also like to take the opportunity to thank you all for all the suggestions and feedbacks and ideas you've given me. Always comment, post, message, and if you like it, feel free to subscribe. However, I'd like to thank you, iNcontrol, again, and good luck, continue laddering.
Thanks a lot, man.
GG for now, Polygon reVue out.